Tigers' lone loss this year coming on the road at Maryland. And Princeton controls the game's opening tip. Doubleheader tonight at Jadwin Gym. Princeton men falling to Merrimack 59-56. Hence the slightly later tip than expected tonight.
Not only a doubleheader in the gymnasium, but a doubleheader for you, John. We're happy to have you on a women's call now.
That was Perkins denying Fatima Tall inside.
I think what we're seeing is the length, and that's what we talked about in the open. Rutgers on the perimeter having a significant height and length advantage over Princeton.
That pass was off the foot of Madison St. Rose. The Tigers give it up. The question for Rutgers is, how do they score offensively out of their sets? They are very good on the offensive glass. That has helped keep their offense at, let's say, a league average tempo. But, Maren, where do they need to go to get consistent offense within their sets?
I think if either or I had the answer there, Coach Weiss Washington would hire us on the spot. But what is important is getting easy baskets early, and that was something that was a challenge in their last game versus Iowa. Unfortunate turnover there, but taking time on the clock as to not give Princeton more opportunity.
Ashley Chia comes to get it. Broke out in a big way against DePaul, Big East opponent. Princeton 3-0 already against the Big East this year. Victories over DePaul, Seton Hall, and at Villanova. 7 on the timer. 3 is blocked. St. Rose comes up with it for the Tigers and left it short. Rebounded by Janae Walker.
And this is the pace that Rutgers wants to be at. Maybe not that pace. That was a little bit quick. But to your point, John, it's the balance of scoring in the open court with an advantage numbers, meaning Princeton's in transition defense versus having to go against a full set defense every possession. Rutgers would like to be a little bit faster.
Well, Rutgers averaging just shy of 61 points per game this year. Princeton, they're scoring way off. They're nearly at 75 a game. St. Rose tries a 3. That's no good. Cleared by Antonia Bates. And an unforced turnover by the Scarlet Knights.
Well, it was so close to us, John. I'm not sure if perhaps it went off Njai's foot unintentionally, right? They were running so close to each other. But those are the unforced turnovers, the self-inflicted wounds. Princeton is so efficient. They don't turn the basketball over. Rutgers can't afford those unforced turnovers where they shoot themselves in the foot.
Averaging about 13 turnovers a game. Princeton playing their 11th game of the season tonight. Fatima Tall, a quick trigger 3 is good.
I always get caught off guard the first time she shoots the basketball because it looks like it's going to be about 4 feet short just because of the high arc and trajectory.
Tough drive inside. Lester had that one intercepted by Ashley Chia. Numbers for the Tigers. Oh, my goodness. Belker. And Belker's called for a 3-second violation after the incredible around-the-back pass from Chia.
You like the flair, the fun? Get the crowd going early?
You really have to be ready for something like that. Every time Ashley Chia steps on the court. Pass inside. Perkins, no good. Second attempt is controlled by Chia. Bit of a shooting slump to start the year for Princeton's Ashley Chia. She's doubled. Bates comes away with it. Ivy comes up with it. Ivy tries a 3 off the back of the rim and rebounded by Sky Belker. Numbers again for Princeton. What a find for St. Rose. She finishes with the offhand.
Kind of surprising, John. Princeton's only scored 5 points. I feel like we've played longer, but the pace is definitely in the Princeton favor. We're seeing Rutgers try to get their half-court set, playing out of a little 1-4 action, allowing
Lester for 3. Halfway down and out. Foul on the rebound. It's going to stay at this end of the floor. Shot taken by Faith Blackstone, number 12, in the black and red. Blackstone, originally from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, well-traveled collegiate career. She can really score it. Averaged 16 points a game at Stephen F. Austin a year ago.
Coquise, Washington, and staff are hoping for those kind of numbers again, but she was generous with her time earlier in the week and said they just haven't had everybody in practice. So the continuity, the consistency, the chemistry just isn't quite there yet. And nobody knows everybody else's role. So it's a bit of a work in progress on the offensive end for Rutgers.
Well, Kayla Ivey has the first points of the evening for Rutgers with a 3-ball. Princeton handles the full court pressure until it's intercepted by Ivey. Ivey tries another short. And St. Rose comes away with the rebound for Princeton. Belker skips it. Toby Noweke just into the game. Her 3-ball is long.
Good spacing by Noweke over here, really forcing the defense to low to the strong side, and a very good open shot.
Post up for Njai is good.
Good patience there by Nene, using that dribble. And look at those long arms again for Bates to turn her defense into offense and forcing a timeout here for Princeton.
Carla Berube talking it through with her team. An early timeout taken by the Tigers after Rutgers scores 5 in a row. It's a 7-5 lead. Chia, tall, St. Rose able to break the full court pressure. Player-to-player defense for Rutgers. 7-3 start for them. A couple of good wins over Quinnipiac, Wagner. Under 10 on the timer. Fadima Tall tries a 3. That's no good. Look at Hutcherson on the glass. She scores it, plus a foul inside.
I love seeing the energy and the effort put forth. And I also like how she always adjusts her mask here. But in amongst the trees, she goes up, skies for that rebound, comes down on 2 feet, uses the shoulders. Much needed. And is that the emotional swing, the emotional momentum here that maybe gets Princeton going?
3-point play for Olivia Hutcherson. And she will play at the top of this full court pressure employed by Princeton. Njai throws it inside, and a layup for Janae Walker.
Janae Walker is just using her size there to finish. She did a nice job of keeping the basketball up high, but again, we're seeing the size be a problem for Princeton.
And Rutgers has size in spades. Coquise Washington talking to us about how she wanted to build this thing with great athleticism, great size.
And we've seen where that size, how that plays out. Obviously, it alters shots. It alters passes when you are coming and looking at a trap coming at you. And that's what the turnover we just saw by Princeton. It alters, and it is very effective, on the offensive rebounding end. So it's multiple facets of the game that when you are taller is to your advantage.
Here's Walker. The target inside was Perkins. She lost it. Numbers for the Tigers if they push.
One thing I really appreciate about Princeton, and Coquise mentioned it as well, I know you can say the same thing, is just they know who they are and the pace that they operate at. And it's really hard to change that up. And we're seeing it now. They're very deliberate in running their sets. They get great shots. It's their pace, and they do a great job at being them.
Njai swings into the corner. Kayla Ivey, originally from Forestville, Maryland, comes with a great high school background at Riverdale Baptist. Hutcherson comes up with the takeaway, and she's got a solo act to put Princeton ahead 10-9.
Got the gap there. Hutcherson did. Used her speed.
Gia pressuring Ivy. Perkins had it knocked away. Ivy putting it on the deck. A step back 3 is good.
That's a tough shot. But nice use of not using the ball screen, right? The rejection of the ball screen into that step back.
Belker trailing the play, and she's got 3 for Princeton.
Wow, she has really been on fire the last 5 or 6 games for Rutgers.
Njai no good the other way. Back and forth we go. Fadima Tall up the middle of the floor. Lays it in, plus a foul.
The Black Sea there just parted, and Tall did a nice job of keeping her dribble. You're taught as a young player to go until the defense stops you, and we see right there those backline defenders just sucked out to the shooters, as the scouting report probably said to do. And Fadima Tall did a nice job of finishing on the left with her shoulders facing the backboard, which forced the foul. You turn your shoulders into the defender, and that's easily could be a block shot. Fundamentals here by Fadima Tall.
Tall is truly a guard in a post player's body. Junior with 6 points now in the first quarter. Played a bit of a home game for her, playing at Maryland, originally from Silver Spring. Georgetown Visitation Prep, another very good high school program in the DMV. She and Toby Nweke, high school teammates together.
You had Nweke on your podcast earlier this week, John, and I heard them talk about the home games, right, for some of their players, going down to Georgia Tech, going to Maryland. I think in the transfer portal era, we're not seeing that nearly as much, and I think there is an element of rewarding those players who've been in your program for some time to get back in front of their family and friends.
Ashley Chia with her first field goal forces an early Rutgers timeout. 30-second timeout to give Princeton a 6-point advantage. And I think you're right about that, because you were in this position as a head coach for a while where you wanted to make sure players that you recruited from outside of your local area would have an opportunity to play in front of family and friends.
And they enjoyed it. They thought it was great. Their high school coaches came out. The current players on the high school team, showed up. And we're just not seeing that at the same level because of all the movement, and players are just not necessarily at a place long enough to build that relationship to even schedule it.
Right. You schedule it 2 years in advance, 3 years in advance. Sometimes in Ashley Chia's case, they went to UCLA last year. That's a home game for her and Sky Belker. And Chia, who is just starting now to find her footing in terms of shooting early in the season here. A couple of good games against high-level opponents of late. She had 22, including 6 made threes, matching her career high in the win over DePaul, and then followed that up with 15 and 6 assists in a win over Seton Hall. Each team has used a timeout here in the first quarter. Tigers lead by 6.
We've seen a lot of box and 1-4 high action by Rutgers. Now we're seeing a little bit more movement.
There's Amani Lester, one of 6 players in through the transfer portal for Rutgers. She scores it against Taylor Charles inside.
She's another one that was a role player at K-State, playing behind the All-American Ayoka Lee, not getting as many minutes as she wanted, and now is in that opportunity.
Here's Belker putting it on the deck. That's no good with the left hand. Hutcherson, no good on the follow. Ivy, the quick trigger. 3 ball is good. 3 of them in the first quarter for Kayla Ivy.
And this is what Coach Weiss is talking to us about earlier in the week, finding early points to give all of their players some confidence. It's amazing. You see your teammate make a couple shots, all of a sudden you've got all the confidence in the world, and you think you can, you're a 3-point shooter as well.
7 on the timer. St. Rose passed Lester, and her pass interrupted. 3 on the shot clock here for Princeton.
Princeton's done a nice job of identifying the mismatch with Lester, pulling her out to the perimeter and trying to take her off the dribble. Oftentimes when there is size in somebody like Amani Lester, that foot speed laterally isn't always there.
We're watching Lester closely. She's been under the weather of late. Limited to only 8 minutes in the game against Iowa. Hutcherson couldn't catch it. And the takeaway by Brandt. Kennedy Brandt, who just entered. Rutgers will inbound right in front of the Princeton bench. It's into Ivy, along with Blackstone. Crossing around Taylor Charles, and she will shoot.
Nice play design, good execution. Going to the basket. Again, drawing fouls, trying to get some points, the easy points from the foul line, but using that Leicester screen and that step through by Blackstone. You're just seeing a little contact on the arm.
Well-traveled collegiate career for Faith Blackstone. Collegiate career began at Syracuse. Stops at North Carolina A&T, CCBC Essex, Coppin State, where she was the MEAC's 6th Player of the Year. Then a season at Stephen F. Austin, and now her final year of college basketball at Rutgers.
I'd like to see the miles on the map there.
She may hold the record for most opposing teams she's played against in a single college career.
Absolutely, yeah,
right?
Yeah. And let's be truthful here. There are many players who have played upwards of 100 opponents.
Tall putting it on the deck. Out to Nowicki. Tall is set for 3, and she's got another in the first quarter. 9 in the first for Fadima Tall. Ivy in the final seconds of the first. Around the screen from Leicester. She gets it off and missed everything. Incredible pace in the first 10 minutes tonight at Jadwin. Just as we were expecting, a back and forth affair. Tigers lead at 21-19 after 10 minutes.
The same class, they're not in competition. They're very complementary.
Those two playing together on the AAU scene as well. Some of that on-court chemistry has really carried over to Princeton. Start of the second quarter. Ivy around the screen. Leicester sees a double. Able to get it off into the corner. Blackstone along 2. That's no good. Emily Edie comes away with the rebound for the Tigers. Princeton still without their backup point guard, Christina Perella, sidelined. So it is Belker running the show right now with Chia on the sideline. Belker denied by Leicester.
Belker doesn't necessarily see that length come conference play, come Ivy League play. And so you do like the aggressiveness right down the lane line, knowing, in the second portion of the season, that is an easy make for her. Really shows the mentality, the scores mentality that she has.
Nowicki chased off the three-point line. That is for 2, and she got it.
Great balance. Oftentimes that pull-up for players is a miss because they're not on balance, their feet underneath their shoulders. But we had a perfect view of that angle. It's just so balanced.
Njai and Blackstone playing catch. 10 on the timer. Blackstone tries a 3. That's no good. As always, Rutgers going hard after the offensive rebounds. And it's Princeton ball.
Antonia Beach returns for Rutgers.
That was a good offensive execution for Rutgers. And the right shot, meaning that ball screen, the defender went underneath, the Princeton defender went underneath. So that's the right shot to take. And that's what Coquise Washington was telling us earlier in the week. Like, we can get good shots, we just have to make them now.
You look back at that Iowa game, a couple of misses right at the front of the rim first couple of minutes, and you could see it sort of affected their energy. You could see the body language after the first 10 minutes of that one. But Tall, no good from beyond.
Out of bounds, Rutgers basketball.
And for some of these players for Rutgers coming in, again, had different roles, more role players on some of the teams that they came from and weren't necessarily in the spotlight on, a national televised, in front of a national televised audience, playing a top 11, I think they were ranked 11 Iowa, that environment, and you miss a couple shots and it really can take a hit on your psyche. Princeton, on the other hand, has been in those situations on the regular, and they really rise to the occasion.
And it speaks to just the continuity, like we were talking about pregame today, that the Tigers returned so much experience into their first 5. Bates with 7 on the timer. Njai lets it fly and knocks down a triple.
Nice inside-outside action. Bates is a tremendous defender for Rutgers. Doesn't necessarily have that offensive prowess, but nice inside-outside to a great shooter in NJ.
St. Rose sees a crowd. Chia around the screen from Tall. Finds Hutcherson on the baseline. She missed it. Tall following it up for the Tigers and draws a whistle.
That was a fantastic pass. I'm sure we're going to see it again here by Chia. Not passing to where her teammate is, but anticipating the speed of where she will be. Down the left here, look at that little underhand scoop. She almost passed it to the lane line, but Hutcherson wasn't even there yet. And then it's obviously finished up with the offensive rebound by Fadima Tall. But that's being able to see the play develop before it actually happens. The next level thinking, the next level vision.
It's such a trust factor. You trust that your opponent's that Hutcherson's gonna be in that spot.
And that's much easier to believe and see when you have the continuity from year to year that many of the Ivy League teams do, but certainly Princeton with 4 starters from last year, and then you add somebody back like Madison St. Rose, almost a 5th starter, and she would have been had she not been injured.
Perkins initiating with Faith Blackstone, Nene Njai. 6 players coming into Rutgers through the transfer portal, plus 2 first-year players. Here's Blackstone. Shot clock is at 5. Perkins, not sure she sees it. Perkins turns and got it off. Rebounded by Princeton's Toby Nowicki.
That was awfully close, but again, a perfect Princeton possession, making you play offense for that full 30 seconds and finishing it with a defensive rebound.
Fouls called here on Zakara Perkins.
Returning for Rutgers, Ivy Kennedy Frank.
Chia to put it in for Princeton. Tall fakes the handoff and marches to the free throw line again for the Tigers.
Nice execution on that baseline out of bounds for Princeton. I really love baseline out of bounds because there's really no reason that you can't execute. You might not always make the shot. Here, there was a miscommunication by those Rutgers defenders. Results in the foul. But going back to being able to execute, it's a dead ball situation. Everybody can line up in the right place. Everybody can look around. You know exactly who you're screening. There's really no reason. There's no excuse why you don't execute your role within that play. I just think the baseline out of bounds and sideline out of bounds can be a game within a game.
When you were coaching, was that a target that you had a certain number of points you wanted on baseline and sideline out of bounds plays?
It can be a set number of points, but also a certain set of calls, right? Versus this team, we're going to run these because we know we can pick on somebody.
Under 6.5 to go in the first half. The lead is 5 for Princeton. Tigers have won all 3 of their games against Rutgers under Carla Berube. As Tall comes away with the steal for Princeton. She's calling her own number and is marching to the free throw line again. Fadima Tall, free throw attempts number 6 and 7 of the first half coming up.
Rutgers has allowed Princeton to just be more aggressive. There we're seeing just the active hands by Fadima Tall, almost ripping the basketball out of Rutgers' hands, and then her ability to, like you said, she's a guard. Her ability to get down the floor, the composure, the strength, bait middle, come back baseline, height or no height. That's a great finish.
Tall really made a name for herself in this matchup at Rutgers a year ago, where she was taking on Destiny Adams. Held her to one of her worst games of the season in the non-conference. 1 out of 2 for Fadima Tall. She's got half of Princeton's 28. Njai, Lester. Njai was the target. Foul is called here on Madison St. Rose.
Madison St. Rose is trying to get in the middle of that handoff, and she does.
Princeton's first team foul.
However, you don't want to pick up a foul in the process, but that's a way to disrupt the rhythm. Rutgers does a nice job of executing in their half-court sets, and being able to get in handoffs can really disrupt that rhythm.
Lester catches it in deep and will shoot two. It is on Olivia Hutcherson.
Hutcherson's second personal.
And that is the second personal on Hutcherson. Imani Lester began her collegiate career at Louisville, a couple years at Kansas State. First free throw is good, or is no good after the horn blew while she had the ball in her hands. That you should probably take that free throw again. I think that's what Coquise Washington is saying to the official on the far side from us.
And no doubt was told that was an inadvertent filter.
I think even if it's inadvertent, it's probably right to just let her take the free throw again.
And that's why they're there, John, and we're here. Because that did not happen. But Rutgers is able to set up their press, which plays into the length. One of their advantages in the matchup here.
Pace has really slowed down here in the second after each team scored at least 19 in the first. Chia for three. That's good for Ashley Chia.
She makes it look so easy, but great execution, patience within the offense, and then she did a nice job of changing pace, coming off that little down screen, really exploding. A little bit of a flare. Perfect pass.
Grant, her pass interrupted by Toby Nweke. And her energy on the defensive end has been a factor, but it's all about Fadima Tall on the offensive end of the floor right now for the Princeton Tigers. She's got 14 of the Tigers' 31. And the Tigers hold an 8-point lead. Halfway is the best group you've seen this year?
I think as of this moment, yes, absolutely. And that's the beauty of the Ivy League between Harvard, Columbia, and Princeton, respectfully of the rest. You know, like they still get to play and who is the best at the end. But I think right now of the teams that I have seen, this group is playing the best together. They've had the best big time wins. And I think that is because they've got a small group. And this group is very similar to who they were last year with the addition of Maddie St. Rose.
My goodness, what a finish from Nene Njai. Incredible spinning finish with the left hands. Rutgers going to need more of that. She's got 7. Ivy's got 9.
Now Rutgers has kind of changed up their defense into a zone, again, using that length to try to disrupt the rhythm.
Fadima Tall, corner three is no good. Rebounded by Imani Lester. Ivy sees a double. Perkins, nowhere to go.
Imani Lester wants the ball there. I think Perkins had her on that first pass and for whatever reason was hesitant to make the interior post-entry pass. But the first time around, Lester had a much deeper post up.
Really does take several games to develop on-court chemistry. Rutgers, well, they've been fighting this all year. You've got 8 new players into the program this year, plus you've had significant injuries. Coquise Washington was telling us about how she hasn't had a practice with everybody at full strength playing in the roles that she envisioned over the summer when she set the roster.
And case in point, Lauren Swan played in their last game against Iowa, but maybe just wasn't ready, maybe had a setback. Obviously, we're not exactly sure, but it's not available tonight. So you think you make some progress, and then, you know, again, there's a change.
Shot clock at 4. Njai will shoot 2. That jump hook at the end of the shot clock. Njai held to her most challenging game of the season at Iowa. Only 4 points. She's got a pair of 20-point games this year. Went for 26 and 8 in a win over Siena.
She established very good deep post position there. to allow that little lefty hook.
I know you love that.
You know, John, I do. I do like post play. I like post play more than I like out of bounds plays, but those are two of my favorite parts. And I like a good point guard. I
was
mean,
going to say, as a coach, don't you have to love everybody or everything?
You do.
Come on.
But as a player, you want to really like your point guard and establish that connection and that rhythm together. You can make her job a lot easier. She can make your job a lot easier.
There's a tip and a steal. Ivy flicks it out to Perkins. 3 ball is heavy off the back of the rim, and Belker comes away with a floorboard for Princeton. Feeding Taylor Charles. Nowacki's alone inside. Can't get it to go.
That's an opportunity that Toby Nowacki wants back. Taylor Charles, I maybe saw her a second late, unable to get that skip pass a second earlier.
Lester facing up on Tall. Offensive foul is called.
Fatima Tall's like, hey, y'all are talking about my offense. I can do some stuff on the defensive end, too. We've seen a couple nice steals that she's turned into offense in there. Obviously, it's on the scattering report exactly what Amani Lester's strengths are, and we're going to see it right here. The rip and go. You can see Tall is still in that stance. Many players try to stand up and try to be as tall as possible when they're at a height disadvantage. She did a great job of keeping her hips down, her knees bent, which allowed her to move laterally.
Grace O'Sullivan is on for the first time for Princeton, number 4 in the white and orange. Gia around the screen from Tall. That's no good. Fatima Tall's got an offensive rebound for Princeton, and she's going to shoot free throws again. Attempts number 8 and 9 coming in the first half.
And what does it come off of? An offensive rebound.
Princeton 7 offensive rebounds in this game. Expecting it to sort of be the other way coming in tonight.
I did a little bit as well, but that obviously speaks to what the scouting report and the keys to maybe victory or the emphasis that Carla Berube and staff have put on the Tigers during this week, understanding that they are at a disadvantage, and how do we make up for that? We really crashed the boards, and I think we're seeing that here.
Well, Fatima Tall averages just shy of 15 a game. She's got 16 here in the first half.
And Madison St. Rose, obviously an all-league player for Princeton. 2.
Only 3 field goal attempts.
And Princeton is still up 5 late here in the second quarter.
Perkins spinning. Oh, she took an extra step.
Perkins is a little frustrated there, talking to herself. Okay. Trying to collect herself. Move on to the next play.
I mean, how about Njai? Her length and ability. Yeah, she just created a turnover herself. Njai here at the point of attack.
Oftentimes you see that 6'2", 6'3" frame on the interior. But Coquise Washington and staff were intentional in going in the portal and getting that on the perimeter, or in players who can defend on the perimeter, on the wing, but there, like you said, on the top. A very different vantage point for Ashley Chia.
Ivy for 3. That's no good. Foul on the rebound, and it's going to stay at this end of the floor. Emily Edie was battling away with Perkins.
Officials, case for her players, absolutely, but doesn't, show the disgust and get super emotional. I don't know if she's ever had a technical, perhaps maybe one. And so that was very eye-opening to me. I was very tuned into what the conversation is over there, because it's still happening.
I imagine there's been one in her tenure somewhere. 16 years as head coach in the Big Ten. I mean,
she did receive one because 2 of her assistants actually received it, but then it turns into a bench technical.
Right. 18 in the first half for Fadima Tall. 10 of 11 from the free throw line. Blackstone, the cross on the bump and run. She lost it. And a foul is called against Princeton. This is on Chia. Oh, pardon, it's on Belker.
Both teams are now over the limit.
Only 17 fouls for Princeton, and that's one area that they don't have a lot of margin.
Oh, yeah.
They have a tight rotation. They've got a small overall roster. And that's where coaches have to, enforce how hard we play, what our standards are, but also they don't have the luxury of being, hey, you've got 2 fouls, let's take you out so you don't pick up a silly third. And that's also on the player to understand the foul situation and not pick up that silly foul. And I do think that there's some experience factors and some maturity that Princeton does have because of the success and the environments that they have played in, that Carla Berube certainly trusts most of her squad.
Here's some of that aggressive pressure that Rutgers employs. Under a minute to go in the first half. Princeton at 40% from the field. Rutgers at 45%. 8 on the shot clock. Tall and Chia working it on the perimeter. Chia with 3 around Njai. Gets it off. No good. Rebound. Loose. Controlled by Princeton's Grace O'Sullivan. And she's tied up by Ivy. Possession arrow keeps it at this end of the floor.
I've been very impressed with Princeton pursuing the offensive glass. That time didn't get it cleanly, but able to get a jump ball situation, still retain possession. I like the spark. I like the energy. I like the explosiveness on the offensive end there. And, similarly on the defensive end, just their scrappiness, they're handsy. They're going after the basketball. They're just getting in Rutgers' personal space. And neither of those things are real skills. It's effort. It's heart. It's playing hard.
And there's a foul here on the inbound. Njai hit Hutcherson. The indication is that Njai hit Hutcherson across her face. Already wearing that protective mask, and now free throws for Olivia Hutcherson because Rutgers is over the limit.
Returning for Princeton, Grace O'Sullivan. Following the Rutgers foul, Olivia Hutcherson to the line.
So Olivia Hutcherson, her second and third free throw attempts of the evening. Played that home game at Georgia Tech to start the year, and boy, that was some kind of ride for Princeton. Couldn't get down there because of travel issues. This would have been the first weekend of the season. They were on the plane, off the plane, didn't get into their hotel until almost 3 in the morning. Ended up playing at 2 o'clock that afternoon and beat Georgia Tech.
If that's what happens in game 1, travel 1, and you're able to laugh about it, have TikToks about it, enjoy each other, and win a basketball game, you've got great chemistry, great connectivity. You're on for a good season.
That's something assistant coach Lauren Dillon was talking about on the Get Stops podcast this week. Tigers lead by 5. Final 10 seconds of the half. Njai defended by Belker. Crossing. Njai to the left hand. Can't get the roll. Rebounded by Edie, and that ends the first half.
Rutgers 31.
Back and forth we go. This game got off to a fast start. Defense is really winning the battle in the second. A star-level performance from Fadima Tall in the first 20 minutes of this one. She's got 18 of the 36 points for the Princeton Tigers. For making us part of your Wednesday night here at Jadwin. Tigers looking for an 8th consecutive win. Would be their second win against a Big Ten opponent this year. Tigers also 3-0 against the Big East. While Rutgers is trying to break a 3-game losing streak in this series. And they have bounced back fairly well from their Big Ten opener at Iowa. Fadima Tall, the big first half. How does Rutgers get her out of her rhythm in the second half, Marin?
Is it changing up the defenders, meaning giving her different length versus speed? Is it trapping if she comes off of a ball screen or another type of a screen?
Bates turned down a three and missed it off the window, but the hot potato ends up with Imani Lester.
Bates is known as more of a defensive player, so it's kind of ironic she misses that layup, but who's there? An offensive rebound, which is very good for Rutgers in terms of how they like to score.
Chia, the catch and fire. That's good for Ashley Chia.
Bates did not want to leave Fadima Tall there, understanding how good and potent she is on the offensive end. But then what happens? You are a step slow coming off that down screen, and Ashley Chia doesn't need more than a fraction of a second to get that shot off.
Njai putting it on the floor against Olivia Hutcherson and gets it to go.
I really like the step through. We've seen that a couple times now by Njai being very methodical, using her own pace to get the shot that she wants. You often hear players and coaches talking about now she's a junior or now she's a senior. She knows how to get to her spot. She knows where she wants the basketball, and that's what we saw in that last offensive possession for Nene Njai.
Bates with the denial inside. Perkins the drive and kick. Ivy crossing. Lester operating from the elbow. Perkins inside against Sky Belker and scores it. There's some of that length for Rutgers as they continue to get it right to the front of the rim.
A little high-low action there. Imani Lester has done a nice job on the low. That time she found herself at the elbow. Nice high-low.
Bates has the assignment on Chia, who attracts two. Fadima Tall attacks the closeout and scores in the mid-range.
So smooth, so smooth. She uses that mid-range.
Njai the other way, lost it. And Belker comes up with it for Princeton. Both Hutcherson and Tall trying to step in and take a charge against Njai. And a foul here on Perkins. Rushing through that screen set by Fadima Tall.
Perkins tried to lock and chase, meaning really get in the back pocket. But in the meantime, she also gave a little bit of a hook around the screen with her arm, and that's where she got called for the foul.
Belker, the step back over Perkins, no good. St. Rose comes away with an offensive rebound for Princeton, and she draws a foul. Boy, Madison St. Rose, a quiet first half, only 2 points for her.
Third personal, second.
She goes for this offensive rebound, number 9 here for Princeton. Chases it down. Finishes amongst the trees there. I'm sorry. Gets a shot off amongst the trees. Gets herself to the foul line.
In and out for Madison St. Rose. Averaging 17 points a game. Played just 4 games a year ago. Tore her ACL against Quinnipiac. And that really opened a real development door for Olivia Hutcherson. Stepped into the starting lineup for Princeton at that point, beginning with Game 5 last year. And Hutcherson really took off, has taken that confidence into her junior campaign.
Unfortunate, obviously, for the Tigers and Madison St. Rose individually last year, but something like that stepping up and Hutcherson taking advantage of what maybe she didn't see as minutes or opportunity obviously helps the depth that they're experiencing this year. They don't have a lot of numbers, but they certainly have the quality in the depth that they do have.
You talk about quality, and, you know, with the way Madison St. Rose has played this year, Ivy missed that 3 badly. I was talking to Seton Hall head coach Tony Bozzella ahead of Seton-Hall's visit to Princeton, and he was saying if you didn't know that St. Rose tore her ACL and you were just watching her play this year, you'd say she looks as good as ever.
And that's certainly a testament to her own individual determination and focus, and also the team that surrounds her, meaning the medical staff, the nutritionists, obviously the support system from family and teammates. But coming back from an injury, at the college level, you do have a lot of modalities and people at your disposal.
What a recovery by Blackstone to get a piece of that shot. Lester wants it inside, sees a double, and Hutcherson comes away with the turnover for Princeton and lays in 2 more. Timeout Rutgers.
Defense to offense, instant offense. That's the type of play that gets the crowd here excited. Look, it just shot the gap there, kept it in bounds, and finished it off the glass. So happy to be a part, on the peripheral here of the Ivy League and being able to see the work that these coaches, that these student athletes put in, and for 3 teams to get in the NCAA tournament, multiple teams now, multiple years in a row. I mean, absolutely fantastic, because this Princeton team, one of them, has hung with every mid-major Power 4, Big East team that they've played with. It's fantastic.
Really is a new era of Ivy League women's basketball. The level of play has gone up tenfold, I would say, in the last 10, 12 years here. Wow, look at St. Rose leaking out ahead of the pack for Princeton. Lester got a hand on that.
And honestly, wise there for Lester to let it fall out of bounds. If you can't keep it in bounds, you don't want to save it underneath the opponent's basket. I can appreciate Madison St. Rose trying to make something happen.
Inbound to Tall, back to Chia, and she drops another triple for Princeton. Ashley Chia, that is her 3rd 3. She's got 11.
Excuse me there. Ivy decides to go underneath the screen.
Lester scores it over Tall.
During the break, John, you and I were talking about can Princeton put together a little bit of a run to add, to give a little cushion. I don't think they've quite done that, but I do think they've elevated their play here and separated themselves a little bit from Rutgers.
Back to Chia and Tall. Beautiful stuff as Chia sets up Fadima Tall. Tall's got 22 for the Tigers. Lester, the target inside, and Chia picks her pocket from behind. Numbers for Princeton. Chia, oh my, what an idea with that pass. And Carla Berube is going to have a talking to with her junior point guard.
That was a fantastic attempt. And then the facial expression that Coach Berube that we are not seeing at this moment. She has composed herself. That was fantastic. But you got to live with the risk and reward. Princeton's definitely winning that battle right now.
The lead
in the personality to say, "Hey, yeah, you're all right, Coach. I'll change my ways."
And that's something that Ashley's teammates have spoken about over the last year or two playing with her, about how it's just so much fun to play with her because she brings that energy. You have to be ready at any moment to make a catch.
And then she celebrates her teammates well, too. I think that's another important part.
Ivy, hammer pass, Bates for 3. That's no good. And the rebound, out of bounds, Nowacki, not able to keep her feet in. Rutgers 4 of 13 from 3-point range.
I do like that drift pass, that hammer pass. Unfortunately, not a shooter there in the corner that time.
Njai tries a 3. That's good. All cotton for Nene Njai. Junior originally from Senegal. Blossoming in her first year at Rutgers after a couple of years as a role player at Boston College. St. Rose the other way. No whistle.
St. Rose wanted had some contact there, wanted that foul.
Ivy the quick trigger. That's no good. Njai comes away with the board. Blackstone dribbled it off her knee and carried it.
Basketball.
That was Rutgers' fourth offensive rebound. And John, that's a big point where they're not getting opportunities. They average about 13 and a half offensive rebounds, and then they can turn those into points. And when Princeton doesn't turn the basketball over very much, where do you get those extra possessions? It has to come on the offensive glass, and I think that's an area that we haven't seen them at their best tonight.
Hutcherson, defended by Bates. St. Rose sees two, and a whistle against Antonia Bates.
First foul. Clark to Antonia Bates.
We've seen that elbow screen action free up a different Princeton player 2 or 3 times, and they just haven't made that pass. I'm sure they've seen it. Perhaps they're looking to use more clock, execute, get a different shot. But I'm just waiting for that layup.
Tall, the step back, long two is no good. Wow, look at Olivia Hutcherson on the glass, but Ivy picked her pocket. Graduate guard Kayla Ivy, originally from Forestville, Maryland. And Jai, well, they've had a tough time getting it inside to Lester. Now she's got a deep catch. Lester lost it out of bounds. Fadima Tall knocked it away.
Lamani Lester is working extremely hard there for that low, deep post position, so no post move is necessary. Just a quick pin, a quick seal off the glass. You're seeing 2 feet right in the paint there. No post move needed. Just get knocks out of her hand.
Blackstone runs into a crowd. 7 on the timer. Ivy had that one knocked away. Rutgers has 3 on the timer.
Rutgers needs to go to the basket here. Attack. Put the pressure on the defense not to foul. They're going to go right inside to Lester here. Nice defense by
Lester turns, but she travels. Frustrating evening for Imani Lester coming off the bench. It's her 4th turnover. Though she does have 9 points in 20 minutes. Blackstone comes up with the steal.
using her length there in that dribble handoff, really creating havoc, and then obviously getting the basketball. Can Rutgers capitalize? It's a 5-point game, could get it down to 1 possession.
You look at the way Rutgers' games have played out this year. They played great in the first quarter, played great in the fourth quarter. Coquise Washington looking for consistency from her group in quarters 2 and 3. Njai a mile away from the rim with 2. Njai couldn't get it off. It's a shot clock violation forced by Princeton.
Princeton, well known for their defense, forcing Rutgers to play 2 or 3 steps behind the 3-point line, so out of the scoring area. Now you need an extra dribble to get to the basket. The passes are not in a rip and go situation. This is how Princeton plays.
Belker running the show right now for the Tigers. Under 2 minutes to go in the third. Teams each with 13 points in the third. St. Rose, Hutcherson, that's for 3. Oh, she got hit by Lester and will shoot 3 for Princeton. Boy, Olivia Hutcherson really not known as a 3-point shooter. Only 2 attempts this year. And it's Lester on the closeout.
Lester went to contest. But you must, as that defender, you must allow the shooter space to come down. There's been too many twisted ankles, foot injuries, because that defender takes up your landing space, and that was part of the issue there.
Hutcherson, a 62% foul shooter for the year. Matched her career high in Princeton's last game at Belmont over the weekend.
We just talk about Again, talk about the efficiency to get a double-double in 20 minutes of play. I mean, I'm not surprised. Olivia Hutcherson, extremely athletic, loves to get the glass, very explosive, can finish at the rim. So it's not outside of her skill set, but yet it's not done every day.
It's pretty incredible. 2 out of 3 at the stripe for Hutcherson. Princeton, 15 out of 19 at the free throw line tonight as a group. Blackstone defended by Nowacki, and fouls called. Just the second team foul on Princeton. A couple more to give here before they put Rutgers into the bonus in the third.
Princeton foul. Going to Toby Nowacki's first personal, team second.
Are we going to see the same out of bounds play? No.
Well, it's more time on the shot clock here. Njai driving against St. Rose. And Nowacki comes up with the steal for Princeton.
Quick hands there by Nowacki.
Final minute of the third. Hutcherson cut off. Fadima Tall tries a three. That's no good. Fight for the rebound, and this one goes on Hutcherson.
Carla Berrubi's not quite as beside herself as she was with Ashley Chia's behind the back, over the head, behind the back, around the corner pass. But she's claiming both players were both vertical. How is that a displacement or a contact foul? There was no advantage. Needless to say, Rutgers basketball.
It's 3 fouls on Hutcherson. Taylor Charles is on the floor in her place. One of 2 seniors on the roster, Charles and St. Rose. 3 ball from Kennedy Brandt is no good. And the rebound last touched by Rutgers.
The previous Princeton foul was charged to Olivia Hutcherson. Hutcherson's fourth.
I've been impressed with Rutgers' ability to kind of hang around. You know, you need to be in the game to win the game. You can't expect your squad still learning their roles, still coming together with so many transfers, you know, to put forth a 15-point comeback here, you know, in the fourth quarter. So I have been impressed with Rutgers' ability to kind of hang around in that 5-7 point.
St. Rose under 10. The target inside was Charles. Numbers here in the final seconds of the third. Lester mishandled it. Ball is loose and controlled by Belker for Princeton. She gets a heave off.
More.
How does Rutgers get over the hump? It's been generally a 5 to 7 point lead for Princeton for much of this game. Rutgers led at 12-10. But that's the question I have for you, Marin. What do they have to do to retake the lead?
If they can get 2 or 3 offensive rebound putbacks, I think that's huge. If they can get themselves to the foul line, they've only been there 8 times, 7 of 8. It's a great percentage, but not there nearly enough. Those are, you know, not sets. Those, you're not manufacturing those points. Those are easier points.
We should note Olivia Hutcherson is on the bench for Princeton with 4 personal fouls. So a big stretch here for Taylor Charles. Chia going to the rim, and she will shoot for Princeton.
I like that straight line drive. And Jai really affected that shot. Ended up fouling her, but really affected the shot with the length. Standing 6'1", but those long arms, you can see that right hand on the waist is what gets the foul.
Chia, not a ton of free throw attempts this year, only 9 out of 14 now. Averaging 33 minutes a game. Just shy of 11 points per game, but she is often near the top of opposing scouting reports. A couple of free throws here, extends the lead. This is the largest of the night. Ivy initiating for Rutgers. Njai comes to get it. Shot clock is at 8. Njai looking for a teammate to move. 3 to shoot. It'll have to be Lester. And she's called for an offensive foul. Fadima Tall holds her ground.
John, is that Fadima Tall's second drawn either charge or offensive foul because she understands the scouting report? Amani Lester uses that interior arm, that right hand, to push Tall away because Tall knows the scouting report, knew she was going to come back to her left hand or right shoulder.
Charles hands off with Chia. She's got a good look. And she's got 3 for Princeton. And Perkins is shaken up here for Rutgers. Looks like she took a shot to the gut on that screen. Oh, and a technical foul has just been assessed, I believe, against a Scarlet Knight.
I wonder if there were maybe some choice words potentially out of frustration. I think that was called on Amani Lester.
A technical foul has been assessed to Rutgers Amani Lester.
The foul is on, the technical foul just went on Lester and Perkins.
We're going to take a look at what this.
Looks like her and Fadima Tall sort of got tied up there. And officials are at the table for a quick look. Princeton leading this one 56-44 with 8:32 to go in the fourth. Fadima Tall, 22 for the Tigers. Ashley Chia's got 16. Olivia Hutcherson with 10 and is on the bench right now with 4 personal fouls. Well, partner, what'd you learn from the officiating crew?
So they are looking for a potential uncalled, unseen contact, obviously, with Perkins there kind of hunched over. But regardless of what that is, they will sort that out. That's the first priority. And then because of the technical foul called on Imani Lester, Princeton will have the choice of who shoots those 2 foul shots. And then, provided there was no unobserved foul that they missed somehow, Princeton then will also get the basketball. So unfortunately for Rutgers, is this that separation? Is this the opportunity where they make a 3, they have the potential to make 2 foul shots, get the basketball back? Is this where the gap widens from allowing Rutgers to kind of hang around to really opening that door?
Well, Zakara Perkins, sophomore forward, originally from Houston, Texas. Her mom is from the Jersey area, played at Rancocas Valley High School in South Jersey, and certainly concerning to see her go off the floor because Rutgers has dealt with so many injuries this year. And, you know, I'm sure if you're on that coaching staff or if you're a Rutgers fan right now, you're looking at it and you're saying, here we go again. And
it's okay. So we have our we have our rotations for this game, or what we thought for this couple of weeks. And now what does this mean? But right now the conversation here in that huddle for Rutgers is drawing up the next execution. They have to move on, you know, and work with the 5 that they're going to put on the floor. And again, if you're Princeton here, you are complimenting the effort that has put forth, and how can they extend this gap?
There'll be no penalty test. There's a technical foul on Birdie. Princeton will shoot 2 free throws and be awarded the ball at the division line.
Personal and turnovers piling up for Rutgers. Is St. Rose on the line for Princeton, shooting the technical free throws. Quiet night, Madison St. Rose on the offensive end. She rolls the second one home. Lester checks out for Rutgers, replaced by Janae Walker. Junior forward who's been a positive development out of all these injuries this year. Player who has really worked at her body, conditioning-wise, coaching staff very pleased with her progress this year.
And one of just four players who was on the roster last year. And so there's something to be said with understanding, the rhythm of practice, how games go, how travel goes, to lead some of these transfers who are, new on campus. They've only been here 3 or 4 months.
Princeton moving it at Chia, left it short in the mid-range. Cleared by Faith Blackstone, running with Ivy. It's Kayla Ivy. She had the hot hand early, a couple of threes in the first quarter, has been quiet since then. Rutgers still without a point here in the fourth. Ivy for three, that's good.
Want you to say that again, John.
4 3-pointers for Kayla Ivy tonight.
Coming into tonight, she only made 16 and was shooting, well below her average, only shooting 28%. So her ability to see the basketball go through the hoop and get on the score.
St. Rose cashes in another triple.
With an answer, we can't, if you're Rutgers, you can't trade 2s for 3s or 3s for 3s. They need to pick up the pace.
Princeton recovers. Blackstone lost it inside, and another turnover forced by Fadima Tall. She's just been everywhere on both ends of the floor.
5 steals, 3 assists to go with her 32 points.
Those 5 steals really snuck up on me. Princeton able to break the full court pressure. Chia. No good for beyond, and cleared by Walker. Ivy's left alone, and she's got another 3 for 5th tonight.
And it allows Rutgers to get into a press again. They play best when they are playing faster, and they speed Princeton up. Now that's challenging because they do a great job of finding their pace and sticking to it. But Rutgers wants to play a little bit faster.
Charles, the target inside, taking on NJ. 5 on the timer. It'll have to be Fadima Tall. Oh my! What a shot! It's a new career high. 25 points for Fadima Tall. Ivy can't get the answer to go. A foul on the rebound against Princeton. Fouls on Taylor Charles.
Take a look at this, John. Inside. Got a bobble there. Step back. Just so smooth, right? And that's over the outstretched hands there of Janae Walker. It's not like she's short.
Walker 6'3". NJ in the mid-range. Got it.
NJ has shown us the inside, the outside, step back. I think Rutgers does have something in her. It's got some complementary, supportive players who can also score with ease and at will, like NJ can.
A little surprised in the way that Rutgers has not been able to force a ton of turnovers in this game. Really felt like their length. So it's been a little bit more of that. Blackstone gets the easy lay-in. St. Rose throws it ahead to Hutcherson. And Princeton will play ball control, leading by 12.
They're really showing their maturity here. Probably could have forced something, maybe even flashy, but choosing to use up some clock.
St. Rose, the target inside. Fadima Tall one more time. Can't get it to go. Blackstone throws it off the leg of Ivy, creating another turnover, setting up Madison St. Rose. She's got three for Princeton. Wants a foul on the rebound against Rutgers.
Coming across half court, eyes are up, and that's all set up because Madison St. Rose sprints to the floor, gets herself behind the three-point line, feet set, hands up. Did you really think she was going to end in single digits tonight, John?
Hutcherson, no good inside. Princeton now has 4 players in double figures tonight. Tall with the career high 25. 16 for Chia, 12 for Hutcherson, now 11 for St. Rose. Njai, the target inside, she scores it, taking advantage of the mismatch. Princeton's been able to do this all day. Break this full court pressure, no one lays it in. Blackstone, no good. Boarded by Fadima Tall. Hutcherson somehow finds Nowacki inside again.
Third grade fundamental chess. Hey, it found its way into its recipient. It all counts as 2 points, John.
Boy, the wheels sort of falling off here for Rutgers the last couple of minutes. Look at Hutcherson. She finally picks up her head in transition. She realizes she's got a wide open teammate under the rim.
So we know, okay, running the floor hard. But I think you're right. When you said the wheels are potentially falling off here for Rutgers, it's that consistency. We've seen spurts, we've seen bits. But perhaps it was wrapped up in Amani Lester kind of losing her cool there a little bit, you know, speaking a little bit out of frustration, saying choice words to the wrong ears close by, and that was the time that Princeton was able to go from like that 10-12 and really push that a little bit further to the 15-17 that they're sitting in now. But now it's just fun for Princeton. You can see that.
The question becomes for Rutgers, where do you go forward here? I mean, you've had a couple of tests in the non-conference slate. This is a game that is always a good measuring stick, I think, for other teams around the region. And you look at this game, the way it's going to play out, and look at the overall of the non-conference. We were talking to Coach Louise Washington. She was saying that she feels like there's been some positives to take away from the non-conference slate, but certainly going to see a negative on the scorecards tonight.
Well, I think you have to be very happy with Kayla Ivey and how maybe she has gotten herself out of that scoring, that shooting slump, and that is a complimentary secondary score that can be counted on along with Nene and Guy. And then it's finding that third. Every good team talks about their big three, and it doesn't have to be a guard wing or post player. It can be any combination, but having that balance of multiple consistent double-digit, 11, 12+ point scorers. And I think that's what Washington is still trying to figure out. And I don't have the exact answer, but I do know that they are looking forward to having healthy bodies back, more inflamed back, for some consistency in practice.
Fouls on Fadima Tall inside, giving up space there on Lester. The second team foul against Princeton.
It's like the second negative she's done. One foul, one turnover. In 35 minutes. Talk about efficiency.
Well, Lester now in the double figure. She's got 11 off the bench. And Njai leads away with 18. Ivy's got 15. Oh, Hutcherson's all alone under the rim again.
Rutgers is really selling out on that trap, that rotation from the weak side to cover up the rim. Never want to give up layups in that press.
I think as a coach, that's probably the kind of thing that indicates to you that we got to get out of this, that maybe we can't use it. We're just going to give up layups. NJ blocked inside. Under 3 minutes to go. Princeton has given themselves a little bit of comfort here. This game was tight at halftime. Chia trying to pick up her dribble again. Shot clock is at 10. Gonna let the demons all cook, I suppose. 3 ball. It's good.
Fantastic. You know, she's explosive. She's on her, the balls of her feet. She's moving forward with that defender kind of on their heels. Just calmly steps back, launches it from 3. No big deal.
I've been covering this program for about a dozen years, almost 10 years now. Mark might be one of the best individual performances I've ever seen. And talking about performances where Abby Myers has gone for 25 and 30, and Jai for 3, that's still good. Talking about some of those games with Bella Allery.
Princeton currently has 6 players playing professionally. So it's not like there haven't been a plethora of point scores and phenomenal players, Ivy League Player of the Year and first teamers. So high praise for you to say one of the best individual performance you have seen as of late.
Western, the kitchen side, counted plus a foul.
So going back to where does Rutgers go from here? You know, Amani Lester, who's got this last. I'd like to see her keep that basketball high, but she's able to put herself in her foul line and give herself an opportunity for a 3-point play. She's got 13 points, 6 for 7. If she's somebody that maybe they can get another 4 points out of, another 6 points out of. She has done a nice job of trying to post up deep and big. You know, she's going from being a role player to being a starter. There's a physicality, there's a conditioning, there's a mentality that comes with that. Shannon LaBeouf is their post coach, works with their interior players, works with Amani is that a relationship that can continue to grow, and can she help Amani get to a level of confidence that she can produce a little bit more for Scarlet Knights?
Really is such a challenge, and I wonder how this works every year. With so many transfers, and Rutgers is in this situation. Seton Hall has had situations like this. Jefferson adds 2 more to her total. Where it does take a little bit of time for a player that was a role player in the previous place to be dependent on to starter level play.
That's the advantage that every Ivy League team has. They don't have the same number, if any, that same number of incoming players that are looking to score at a high level, at a consistent level. So their chemistry is just at a different level. And I think that's part of what we're seeing here, not taking away the sheer skill set, athleticism, and just fantastic athletes that Princeton has.
It's the 4th time this year Princeton's gone for 80 points. And a couple of free throws coming for Toby Noweke. Younger sister of Chef Noweke. Toby was telling us a pretty great story on the Get Stop podcast. First time ever on campus. She was 12 years old, tagging along on her older sister's official visit. Chef Noweke, one of the first recruits for Carla Perubi and her staff. It's a very athletic family. Her brother Ike played men's basketball at Columbia, and professionally overseas. Brother Odera, track at Yale. Now Toby Noweke, a key contributor to what appears to be a 10-1 Boston Tigers team.
I was listening to that podcast episode, so John, well done, first of all. But when Toby said, my family said, you don't have to go to an Ivy. I was like, but did they? And do you really have to have confidence to be the one kid that does it? Like, can you really put that down?
And Jai can't get it to go. And Grace O'Sullivan has the board. And Princeton can dribble out of the final seconds on this one. An incredible fourth quarter. Princeton scores 30 fourth quarter points. And they blow away Rutgers 81-63. The Tigers have won 8 in a row and are now combined 5-0 against the Big Ten and Big East.
Winning is fun. There's a multitude of ways to be successful and to win. And you can tell that this group can